everyone, what is going on? My name is RedArcherLive and welcome back to the channel. In today's Payday 2 video, we've got our first hint as to the next DLC content drop coming to Payday 2 on PC in the coming week or so. We've got some teasers, some screenshots, and an ARG event that was released online today at the time of recording, yesterday by the time you see this video, which I'm going to explore in depth and give you all the information that you need to know for the update that is coming very soon. This unfortunately will not concern anything to do with consoles. For those of you asking, I am still keeping an eye out for console updates, but right now there isn't any news. There may be some in the future, it's not guaranteed, but right now we're focused on PC. So without any further ado, let's get into the news and talk about the upcoming update. So earlier this week, Ian Russell, better known as the voice and face of Locke in Payday, posted a picture on his Twitter feed, that's at @LockePayday if you want to go and follow him and see anything else that might happen in the future, talking about getting some new hacking software and providing a link to an overkill website. The website is codenamed Lockbreaker, and it began a countdown that lasted 2 days as a percentage bar on the screen filled up to 100%. That's why I didn't do a video up to this point. For anyone who was wondering, I figured it was just much more logical for me to wait until the ARG event had properly started and also finished, so I could report everything in one video. But whilst we waited for the Lockbreaker website to open up for us to begin the puzzles, we then had a teaser posted on Steam for the next DLC for Payday 2, so in case it wasn't already obvious, it was now confirmed that this was to do with the upcoming Payday 2 update. Which made sense considering it's now been 4 months since the San Martin update, which I myself think is ridiculous. I can't believe that much time has passed so quickly. But on that website they have provided 2 screenshots and just called the DLC Payday 2 a new DLC. There's no date there or anything like that. There wasn't supposed to be a date there, however, people who posted the link in Discord saw a pop-up that included a release date on there of June 24th. This release date has not been confirmed by anybody at Overkill. It could just be an error that appeared that they put a placeholder value in, and that showed when you attach the website link in Discord. It could just be a placeholder value and that could be all it is, or it could be the actual release of the DLC update. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video though. The 2 screenshots provided don't really give you a ton to go off. The first one focusing on a parking garage of some kind, and the second one showing a nice orange looking hallway, which honestly kind of reminds me of one of the missions from GTA San Andreas, but I don't think that's related. But either way, there's not a great deal I can break down here, except in the first picture you can see 2 police cars parked next to the garage. Keep those in mind, it might be important a little bit later on. At first glance, you'll look at that parking garage photo and think, oh, hang on, that means we're back in America surely, because it says parking alongside the garage, it's in English, surely we're back in America. I would have agreed, but then if you look at the cop car and you zoom in really close, as I'll do on screen now, you can see the cop car reads Policia Federal. Point is, the police car writing is not English, so I'm suggesting that we're still in Mexico and we're still continuing the Silk Road campaign. It makes sense, it's all been to do with Mexico, it would make sense to carry on in that same vein. So why the parking garage says parking in English is anyone's guess. But either way, with this DLC available to view on the Steam store, we then only had to wait 2 days for the Lockbreaker site to open up. This resulted in what now is yesterday's great event in the Payday 2 Discord, where a ton of players assembled together in a new channel in the Discord server called Lockbreaker and all attempted to crack the codes together. I've got to say, as a little side note, to actually have been part of that was really, really good fun. Whilst I cannot say in any way, shape or form that I had any involvement in cracking the passwords, it was such good fun discussing things with people and just watching some of the greater minds, better than mine at least at cracking this kind of thing, just going to town on this website. It was so exciting to watch. But either way, let's turn our attention to the Lockbreaker website and see what this website had to offer. So when you first got on there and the 100% time marker had disappeared, you were asked to input an initial password. Now, I made a few guesses at this, tried to use some original passwords from Payday 2 like My Strong Russian Password or I Heart Rainbows 44, but neither of them actually worked. It turns out that it was actually a 100 character password that you had to type in to get through the first stage. I'll provide each of the answers on screen as we discuss each part. Before I do, I need to give credit to Buttered TV, one of the Twitch streamers that plays Payday. It's a really cool Twitch channel, I recommend you go over and follow him. He wasn't responsible for finding every single password, but he did provide a nifty post in the Lockbreaker channel which was then pinned so everyone could have access to all of the passwords. So thank you, Buttered, for writing that, and thank you to everyone else who he's quoted in there who took part and found the initial passwords. That's on screen now, just to give a bit of credit. But the password you can see at the top is a combination of letters and numbers that actually spells out a phrase. Once you change all the numbers back into letters, the sentence reads as satisfaction can only be attained through hard work and seeking truth. Do not get tempted by those who quest only to spoil. Now, I don't actually know whether that has any significance to the heist that's coming. Interesting phrase, but it may only just be that, just to get through into the first stage, but that's your first password. The second stage, once you input the password, was to get on and down a bunch of satellites, each one named after a member of the Overkill team. For some reason, Almir's satellite was already down. I don't know whether that was some kind of inside joke at Overkill, like, oh, Almir's the unreliable one. I have no idea. But you had to then down satellites for Sebastian, Tobias, Elizabeth, and Adam. Each of these satellites had their own puzzle you had to solve, and the answers for those will go on screen now. Different puzzles needing different types of code and different activities to be completed. There's no point in really explaining it because I don't really know the full gist of it, I'll be completely honest with you, but those are the answers that you need. But once you've downed all 4 of these satellites, you then go into the third and final part of the hack, which involves a series of subroutines. Each one of these subroutines is a little game. One is very reminiscent of Minesweeper, one is connecting bridges to different nodes, and another is a game of Sudoku in a 4x4 grid. Each of these has their solutions, of which I will put on screen again now so you can see all 3 of them. But once you do all 3 of those, you then gain access to the 4th and 5th and the 2 actual final subroutines. Subroutine number 4 gives you access to the Steam website, which you already had access to, so that was kind of a bit obsolete anyway. But the 5th and final subroutine will then grant you access to a special weapon colour called the Cryptographer's Colour. It simply asks if you want it or not. You type in Y or yes, basically. Type in the letter Y and it will give you access to a Steam key, redeem it, and you gain access to the colour. However, before you get ahead of yourself, you can't view it in-game now. It will only be added with the DLC update, so when the update drops, you will also have the colour in there for free if you redeemed the key. Now, you might be asking me, Troy, okay, why did you go through all of this Lockbreaker thing if the only thing you get was a weapon colour? Well, actually, that wasn't the most important part, because as you go through each of these activities on the Lockbreaker website, you build piece by piece an image of a satellite plan of the map we're going to be playing on in this heist, on both the ground floor and the first floor, in a similar style to the pre-planning blueprints. And so you gain diagrams of both the ground and first floor in 4 different ways, which I'm going to take you through now. So let's kick off with the ground floor. The first picture is the topology of the map, just simply where the doors are, what the rooms look like, their sizes, that kind of thing. The second of the 4 plans for the ground floor is the schematics version, which includes entry points, side gates, main entrances, and also labels each of the rooms where possible on the ground floor. There's something rather interesting here to look at, which we'll get at just shortly. We then have the ground floor version 3, which is the cameras version, showing you all of the camera placements on the map on the ground floor. Let's be honest, there's quite a lot of them. I'm guessing that might be all the cameras that can spawn rather than all the cameras that will spawn, and so some will appear and some won't on certain playthroughs. But the placement of these cameras also suggests that this map will either be stealth and loud or just stealth, because cameras wouldn't need to exist if the map was loud only. And they have actually done paid stealth heists before with the yacht heist as part of the John Wick heists pack. So it's not impossible it could be a stealth only heist, but I just have this feeling that it'll probably be the same as Border Crossing and San Martin, where you can take it either way. We then have the 4th and final version of the ground floor, which is Dead Drop, showing you where you can drop off loot and also put things in like sleeping gas that you normally would be able to during pre-planning. For instance, I'm pretty sure that the triangle that has nothing inside it towards the bottom right of the main part of the map is probably where you can place a crowbar. It's probably that. That's just a guess off the top of my head, though. Before we move on to the first floor, I'd like to point out something rather interesting here, is that if you combine the ground floor schematics plan with the 2 pictures we got off the Steam website, you'll actually be able to identify where those screenshots have come from. If we look back at the first screenshot, we could see a parking garage on the left and also 2 cop cars across the street. If we line that up with a picture, we can see that that screenshot is coming from this direction of the map. Then if we take a look at the second screenshot in the orange hallway, you can see to the far right there is a staircase going up and over a doorway into the cafeteria. That means this picture is looking down this part of the interior of the map. You might not care too much, but I spotted it and thought it was quite cool, so I thought I'd link the 2 things together. And then finally, as I said, let's have a little look at the fact that there's also a massive cell block in this building. Combine this with what we've already seen with the police cars parked outside, I'm almost convinced this heist is based inside a police station or prison of some form, but I'm gonna go police station, it just seems to be a bit more feasible. Are we attacking the police station for information? Are we raiding for a server in the same way as Firestarter? Or maybe are we doing another breakout? We've had 2 before, one for Hoxton, one for Bane. Could there be a third breakout? I don't know, but there's something going to be here based within a police station. But either way, let's move on to the first floor. There's not as much to run through here, so I'm just going to glide through them. You have first off the topology of the first floor, we then have the schematics, we then have camera placements, and finally dead drops, but dead drops actually doesn't have anything on there. It's the same as the topology because it seems you can't have any dead drops on the first floor. Bit interesting, but I did check this up and apparently that is an accurate photo, so I don't know. I guess because there's so much on the ground floor, there's not much to put on the first, but there isn't really a lot of landmass on the first floor anyway, so I'm not particularly surprised by that. But all of this together gives us a full look at the blueprints of the map, and as I've said, it gives us an idea that we're playing within a police station. There's going to be at least a stealth option if it's not compulsory, and also when this update drops, we'll get access to a weapon color if you took part on the Lockbreaker website. So let's combine all this information together and talk about what this might mean for a future update. Now, usually when they do these teasers, the update comes out the week after, so I'm going to pinpoint this update to drop sometime next week, which then would mean that it lines up with the June 24th date that was accidentally leaked on the Steam store. Again, it might not have even been a leak, it might have just been a placeholder error. Who really cares? I just think it's coming out next week. That seems logical to me. So whatever day it releases on next week, we're going to get this heist involved in that bundle. And I say bundle because the last two updates for PC have come out with bundles with several DLCs in. It's a model that's worked for Overkill. I would say the DLCs have done quite well because there's been a lot of people playing when DLCs drop, so I don't really see why they change that structure now. And so the real question comes down to what things will be in the bundle this time. Well, in both Silk Road updates so far, we've had Tailor Packs, so I would assume we're going to see a Tailor Pack 3 in this update, but I don't know for sure. What I will say is that it seems rather likely we'll get another pack of weapon colours, because in the San Martin update, the Silk Road Cartel Business update, I should say, there was weapon colour pack 1 in the group of DLCs released. It was called Colour Pack 1 rather than just the weapon colour pack. So more colours are coming. As we know, we got the Cryptographer's colour just from doing the hack, so I think Colour Pack 2 is probably going to be in this bundle as well. Beyond that, we might get some new guns, we might get some new attachments. With the Border Crossing update in November 2019, we got the Cartel Optics weapon mod pack, and then the San Martin Bank update in February 2020, we got the Federales weapon pack. So it could be weapons, it could be mods, it might be both, I don't know. So I'm going to say Heist is guaranteed, Weapon Colour Pack 2 seems very likely, as does Tailor Pack 3, and then on top of that, we'll either probably get some weapons or some mods, and so we'll have probably 4 or 5 DLCs in this bundle, but I can't be certain until it drops because I just don't know. As a lot of you know, I get early access to some of the information with regards to DLCs as an Overkill partner, but as of this point right now, I actually really don't know what's coming. So right now, this is all speculation, but those are my predictions based off everything we've seen and based off everything that I can conclude on their past history. This seems like the way they're going to go forward because it's been 4 months, they're due a big update, and every time they've done a big update recently since they brought Payday 2 back into full development for DLC, there's been a bundle with a heist and a few extra bits and bobs here and there. Will the bundle be worth it? What will the contents be? We'll find out hopefully next week when I'm thinking this update will drop. But until then, thank you all very much for watching. I can't tell you how good it feels to come back and do another Payday 2 news video and just talk about what's going on in the game. I've missed doing this. I've missed doing videos. For those of you who missed my debut last week where I came back after a month or two of no video uploads, I did a tier list video putting every single heist from Payday 2 into a tier maker list. Those of you who watched it had a really good reception of it and I do appreciate that greatly. Thank you if you watched the video, and if you didn't, feel free to check it out. Link is on screen now and also will be in the description if you fancy checking that out. But until then, thank you all very much for watching this video. I will see you all next week, hopefully with the next Payday 2 update. I'll also be streaming it when it comes out. But if you did enjoy the video, please leave a thumbs up on it. It tells me you enjoyed it and you'd like to see more. And if you are new around here, please click that subscribe button because it's quick, it's free, and I'll always love you for doing so. And finally, if you do fancy supporting me more than just watching the videos, liking, commenting, sharing, all that stuff, then please head over to my Patreon and consider pledging your support. Donations are never expected from anybody, but if you do donate, it will be greatly appreciated and will always help keep me going, keep the channel going, just keep everything running as smoothly as it can. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time with a brand new video. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I will see you all very soon.